Hey everybody, this video is going to be a little bit different from our usual videos. This is not going to be a park video. Jake and I are both big fans of Halloween, and this year we're actually going to Disney World for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party on Halloween itself. So I wanted to make sure we had really good Disney themed costumes. Jake's going to be Han Solo, and I'll do a video showing how I put together his costume a little bit later. But my costume, I wanted to go with something that featured my favorite color, which is green, and Disgust from Inside Out was the obvious choice. If you're not familiar with the character, she's all green, green hair, green dress, pink shoes and scarf. So I'll put the picture in so you guys can see if you're not familiar with her. The first thing that I wanted to focus on when I was putting the costume together is the dress itself. Now, I decided to go ahead and make a dress to match the one that she wore in the movie. You could do this a little bit easier by just looking for a v-neck green dress online and just adding the detail to it if you're not a sewing person. To give you an idea of what I used for the dress pattern itself, Disgust wears a V-cut dress. It's shorter with a full skirt, like A-line. Jake actually found this pattern when we were at one of the craft stores, so I decided to go with this particular version of the dress. This is a quick sew, K4098 is the pattern number. I modified it slightly. I did it all in one color. I used a Kelly green cotton, and it's fairly inexpensive. You can get it in any of the places that sell fabric. And I left off the pockets because her dress didn't have pockets on the front. I will say, if you do sew and you wanted to use this pattern, just be aware, as far as sewing patterns go, this one did not have the best instructions. I'd never used this particular brand of pattern before, and I found a few instances where I needed interfacing on a piece and it didn't tell me to cut the interfacing, so I had to go back and do that after. So just be careful if you do decide to use this particular pattern. It's maybe not got all the detail, so I wouldn't recommend it for a beginner sewer. Once I had the dress put together, you can see it here fully assembled, I wanted the detail of the flowers. Disgust had blue and green flowers kind of randomly all over the dress. Ideally, I could have found fabric that would have had that print, but it turned out it was really hard to locate. So ended up just getting the plain green. To start with, I wanted to just do embroidered flowers, and I don't have an embroiderer, so I just get some embroidery thread and top stitched the flowers onto the dress, and you can kind of see that in a few places. There's actually thread underneath the glitter where I tried doing the top stitching. The green flowers turned out okay, but the thread that I used for the blue flowers, it was really hard to see against the green fabric, and I really wanted something that would pop a little bit more. Since she is an animated character, I figured go a little bit more fanciful with it. So to make the flowers as you see them here, what I did is I purchased some fabric glue. This is the glue that I used, and this was a full bottle when I started. I've almost used the entire thing. It's got a nice narrow tip, so it's easy to control the application of the glue for drawing out the design. And it's washer friendly. I think after 12 hours you are able to wash the garment that you've used the glue on. So I did one flower at a time because it dries relatively quickly. It sets up at least so that the glitter won't stick to it as well. But I drew out the flower, and then for the green flowers, I used a combination of two different colored green glitters. Again, I just got this in like a multi-pack at a craft store. It was a bunch of different colors. And it's a small glitter that typically seems to work better on a garment. For the blue, same thing. I would just draw out the flower and the glue, and then I used two different colors of blue glitter. And you could use whatever color you want. It's not really going to be that big of a difference. And I just worked in sections on the garment. I would do this section and then let it dry and then move. Now be aware, if you're going to do this method, you're going to have glitter everywhere. It looks like a fairy has blown up in the house. There's the trail of glitter from where I put the dress on, tried it on, and glitter kind of came off of the dress because I sprinkled the glitter onto the dress and kind of moved it around to get it onto the glue. Once it's dry though, you really won't get too much glitter coming off onto you. I would recommend washing it before you wear it if you don't want glitter all over you at the end of the night. So once I got the dress done, I wanted to work on a little bit of the detailing. Disgust does wear a belt. It is a green belt, 2 different shades of green, with a D-shaped belt buckle. There was a belt that was included in the pattern for the dress. I just didn't like the way it turned out. So what I did for the belt itself, I measured around my waist a length of this wider satin ribbon. Nothing fancy here, it's just polyester satin look. Hello, BB. Off the table you go. And then I liked the color. I thought it worked well compared to the picture of Disgust outfit. And then I had binding tape from doing the edges of the dress around the arms. And I just ran that on either side of the ribbon and glued it into place. And I'll show you a picture of what that looked like as I did it. Again, I just used fabric glue for that. So if you were going to buy a dress and do the flowers, you could use that method for making the belt. Even if you don't sew, it's pretty simple, just using the fabric glue that I've used to do the glitter flowers. The belt buckle itself. So it's not as smooth as I'd hoped it would be. What I ended up doing, I couldn't find a belt buckle that I liked. Again, hers is just the letter D. So what I did is I purchased a pourable resin that you can use in a mold. And I found a Pinterest video, and I'll link that to this video. It's where I got the tutorial for making the mold. But it's very simple. You can make your own silicone molds using caulk, 100% silicone caulk from any hardware store. You just use it and put it into soapy water using dish soap, and it actually activates the caulk so that you can work with it and use a positive to press in. So you'll see from the pictures kind of how the process worked, how I made the molds. Then you mix the resin. It's just a resin and hardener, and you pour it into the mold and give it time to set up, usually overnight. And you'll end up with a nice clear copy of whatever the mold was. So I did that, and then I sanded it down with a Dremel tool a little bit, and then I painted it. Hers is it may be like a dark green. I interpreted it more as like a gunmetal gray. So I took hobby paint. Just if you've ever done any models, that's what this is model paint. I didn't have gunmetal, and it probably would have been easy to just go out and buy the color I needed, but I didn't feel like going back out again. So I took a glossy black and silver, mixed those two together, and just painted it directly onto the belt buckle, and it's turned out pretty good. Last thing for the costume, the shoes and the scarf. So she wears matching shoes and scarf. I went to one of the fabric stores, and they had this, I don't know if you can tell, but it's got a little bit of glitter to it, like a shimmery sheer fuchsia fabric. I got the smallest cut of fabric that they would give me, just trimmed the edges so that it came to a point, and rolled the edges up and stitched it so it wouldn't fray. And I thought that was like the perfect color for what Disgust is pictured as wearing. And then I wanted the shoes to match. And that was a little bit more challenging. It's hard to find ballet flats in the color that I wanted. So I had the idea of buying dyeable shoes. I remember from when I was a kid being in cousins' weddings, you could get the white satin shoes and they would dye it to match whatever horrible bridesmaid dress that you ended up having to wear. So I got these on sale for $8 at davidsbridal.com, and I used, instead of dye, I used an acrylic paint, and I mixed the pink and the white together, or it's like a purple and white together to get the color I was looking for, and then diluted it down with water, and then dabbed it on with a brush. Do I have that brush? No. It was just, those foam, not really a brush, but it's like a foam sponge on a stick. I dabbed that and then went over it. I did a couple coats, and then I colored the sole with a black Sharpie to make it a little bit darker. But I think it turned out pretty close to the color of the scarf, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then lastly, Disgust skirt's really full, and you can tell from the pattern picture and the dress itself that this isn't a very poofy skirt. You need something to give it a little bit more volume. So, and I didn't want to just go plain Jane, so I got this really fun, glittery, I don't even know what kind of fabric this is called. It's not tulle, but you find it in the costume section of the fabric store. All I did was take 2 long pieces, stitch them together to make a circle, and then I cut a piece of elastic for my waist, and then this just goes up underneath the skirt. It makes the skirt poofier. Last thing you'll need is a pair of leggings to complete the look. She wears the skirt, it's about knee length, and she wears dark green leggings underneath. Personally, I got a pair of solid LuLaRoe leggings. Not that I'm trying to push the brand, I just really like how soft they are, and the color was pretty good. So you can go on Amazon or whatever and look for dark green leggings, and you can find something that'll work for you. But that pretty much does it. That's the Disgust costume, at least my interpretation of it. Please feel free to comment, like, share, and hope to get that Han Solo costume video up soon. Thanks.